Hey Rebels, how's it going? It's Shirini Thor here. My goodness, holy shit buckets, y'all. Have you seen the world erupt in madness the way I have ever since election night? Oh my God. Let me just preface this podcast by saying that it is past midnight here. I cannot fucking sleep. I am wired. And I have been like this ever since Tuesday night. What the fuck? Like, it's so weird, the effect this is having on everybody. So shit, for my own therapy and sanity, I had to do this podcast. We gotta jam, y'all. We gotta talk about this. Like, it's insane what is happening. And I'm not a person who really gives a shit about politics. Truly, I think this is the first time I've ever been really riled up or interested or done research or been into an election. So I find that to be very interesting because I think that's been a lot of people's experience. A lot of people who typically don't really care about politics, all of a sudden we're like, Hillary's going to be in office? Oh, hell no. Trump's going to be in office? Oh, hell no. You know, like everyone's kind of like waking up to the fact that they need to have their voices heard if they are going to hopefully get what they want to happen in the world. So anyway, that's been my experience. And I kind of want to talk about this, honestly, not from a political perspective, because I'm not the fucking political expert, let's just be honest. But I am a person who looks at the big picture. I am a person who really sees sort of like patterns and what's happening, I guess, in the masses. And that's where I find this just crazy fucking interesting. Like, we have to talk about this. It's so crazy. So right now we have a new president. His name is Donald Trump. I find that very strange and interesting. And like, I'm even struggling here because I don't want to alienate any Trump supporters because this is not a podcast that's about who should have won. Okay, let's definitely make that clear. It's not about that at all. I honestly typically avoid talking about politics or religion because they're very polarizing. I don't like to polarize people. I don't like the I'm right, no, you're wrong type rhetoric. I think that is rhetoric that tends to be, dare I say it, a more unconscious level of communication. I believe in every right and wrong, true or false scenario, there's always a third option that people aren't considering that is potentially better or potentially more innovative. And so I don't really play in that space very often, or at least I try not to. Like, let's say, you know, my humanity's getting the best of me. Like, I typically try to step out of that because I'm like, no. Like, be it far from me to fucking be so arrogant to think that I'm definitely right now. So, like, let me hold up for a second and really look at this. So, yeah, this is not a podcast about who should have won. This is not a podcast. It's just not about what actually happened. It's more about what I believe is happening energetically in the world right now, or at least in America, maybe not the world. Okay. So all I see now that the election is said and done, and this was already happening prior to the results coming out, you know, people were kind of like stating their cases on social media, stating why Hillary should be winning, stating why Hillary's such a shady chick, stating why Trump should be winning, stating why Trump's such a shady dude. Like, you know, all that was going back and forth, kept going back and forth. But I feel like now that the results are out, it's kind of like game over. And I feel like Hillary supporters are in mourning for the hope that they had for their she-male president, you know? And the Trump supporters are happy and glad and celebratory and feeling sort of vindicated, you know? And so what's shocking is you would kind of think it would just be like, all right, let's keep on keeping on now that shit's over. We know who won. We can just like get back to our daily lives now. But instead of that, it's actually erupted times 1,000. Like, if we were tearing each other up before the election, my God, we are ripping each other apart like fucking rabid dogs. It's insane. I've never seen anything like it. Literally never seen anything like it. I've never seen people care so much. I've never seen people get so emotionally involved. I mean, fuck, Hillary supporters are literally crying. They are crying at the loss. And they're also crying that Trump won. It's not only, oh no, my girl lost. It's, holy shit, this fucking guy's a fascist, leader now, and they're freaked out. Whereas I feel like Trump supporters are relieved that shady Hillary didn't win, and that Trump, who's this breath of fresh air and he's going to protect our country and make America great again, is like sitting in the Oval Office. It's so polarizing and dramatic. I've just never seen such a dramatic reaction. And so I had to talk about it, not only because it's so fucking dramatic and weird and crazy, but also because I am personally struggling with this. I mean, I'm just feeling all the civil unrest that's happening in our world right now. It's so crazy. So I just feel like I want to help us. You know what I mean? I want to help us kind of come back together and sort of move forward in a productive manner. I feel like we're still stuck in the this shouldn't have happened stage, or I'm right, haha, Trump won stage. And I just feel like we're still tearing each other up. So just looking at it from a life coach perspective, okay? So I am a CPC, a certified professional coach from the Institute of Professional Excellence in Coaching. We focus on energy. There's a lot of amazing coaches that have come out of there. It's an ICF accredited school. It's great, right? So we do this thing where we can offer an assessment that helps you assess your energy. And so to give you a ridiculously quick tutorial on what the hell I'm even talking about, there's 7 levels of energy. Level 1 is woe is me, victim, helpless, I lose. Level 2 is fuck you, I win, my way or the highway. Levels 1 and 2 are both catabolic. And when we're talking about catabolic, we're talking about physiologically unhealthy for you from that perspective of like health and emotional well-being. Okay. So what happens in your body when you're thinking level 1 or 2 thoughts is that your body will secrete adrenaline and cortisol, and it will literally eat away at your tissues and your immune system and erode you. Like it actually is physically hurting you. And I think this is what's concerning me so much about where the fuck we are right now, is that all I'm seeing is level 2 energy. Like everyone just fucking eating each other up like it's nobody's business. And I already knew that most of the world was levels 1 and 2 energy. Like that's just statistically what it is. I knew that, but I think because I live in this fucking conscious bubble with all these conscious bubbly people, or, maybe I have my clients who are coming to me to support them in being higher than levels 1 or 2. I'm like almost a little out of touch, with like the world and what is really going on under the surface. But I feel like this election has fucking volcano style blown this shit up where it's so obvious how level 2 everyone is. I mean, like, this is why, the corporate world sucks ass, because there's so much level 2 energy of like my way or the highway, dog eat dog kind of energy, that people are in pain and they're developing disease in their body. Because if you do this whole cortisol, adrenaline, eroding at your system long-term thing, you will eventually develop disease, literally. So, all right. So step up to level 3. Level 3 becomes anabolic. Anabolic energy is when your body starts to, you think, more positive thoughts, your body starts to secrete testosterone into your body, and therefore it's building on your muscles, it's building your immune system, it's creating strength, all this good stuff. So level 3 energy is a little more like, I'm responsible for my results in life. I'm responsible for what it is that's going on, whether it's good, bad, right, wrong, whatever. Like, I'm responsible. And there's a little bit of rationalizing and coping. So at level 3, you're at risk for dropping down to levels 1 and 2, because maybe when things aren't so great, you will pretend that they are, or tell yourself it's okay. Then there's level 4. It's like, the nurses, the teachers, the mothers, the Mother Teresas, who are such givers. The compassion is just like insane level 4 energy. But sometimes they give so much that they end up emptying themselves out and they just bottom out back to level 1. So that's also a sensitive one. And then there's level 5 energy, which is where entrepreneurs, creatives, innovative types of people live. Because in level 5, everything's very win-win. It's very like, and then I guess this is kind of what I'm talking about. Like right now, everyone's playing in the win-lose arena with this whole political situation. Dog eat dog. I'm right, you're wrong. Like they're either saying Hillary should have won or it's so good Trump won. And there's this all kind of polarizing energy. Whereas like a level 5 person would probably say, hey, there's a win-win here. So like, let's really look at this from a different perspective. How was this a win-win? Or how could we turn it into a win-win? Or how can we get on the same page and rally all of our energies to move things forward more effectively? So level 5 is fucking awesome. Honestly, I try to play in level 5 the most. I think it's the most effective, beautiful place for an entrepreneur or creative or any human really to be, because you just become more big picture and interested in positive progress. And let me just back up a bit. So level 3, I didn't explain, is I win. You may lose or win, but I'm definitely going to win. Level 4 is you win. That like giver compassion, you win. But sometimes I'll be empty because I'm so busy letting you win. And then 5 is the win-win. And then there's 6 and 7. And honestly, I don't want to spend much time explaining 6 and 7 because they're like fucking Gandhi, Buddha and shit. And like, I don't even play there very often. Like as much as I aspire to be a Zen master, like I tend to play in level 5. Because also when you get up into like level 7, you're also sort of becoming detached at that point from the physical world. And you're like, life is a game. It doesn't even matter who wins or loses. It's all about just the playing of the game. And in that space, like you'll see a lot of gurus in that space. Like Wayne Dyer was definitely in that space. And he was divorced because it's tough for people in that space to stay physically attached. And I believe to some degree, you got to have a little bit of that ego aspect of being in the physical world if you want to do things like make a marriage work long term or raise babies in a whole family. And I really do want those things. And so for that reason, I don't like try to get up to level 6 or 7 too hardcore. Like it's great if I'm this like amazing, woo-woo person in certain moments. But for the most part, I play on level 5 because I feel like it's the highest level of energy while allowing me to still have healthy attachment to like my physical life in this world. All right. So hope that wasn't too weird and esoteric for y'all. But anyway, now that we have the levels 1 through 7 energy kind of outlined to some degree, now I'm hoping that you can see like why I find this so fascinating. Just all I see is people tearing people up like it's nobody's fucking business. And it's, I mean, I don't even know what categorizes somebody as an empath or not. I've had a lot of people tell me like, oh, you're such a natural healer. You're such an empath. And I think I'm super practical. So I don't think of myself in that manner. I almost don't know how to put myself into that category because I don't know how to quantify if someone's an empath or not. And so I just haven't decided. The jury's still out on like what I think about that or not. However, in moments like these, I'm like, man, maybe I am, because all I feel is like the pain of the world. You know what I mean? Like everyone just hating on each other, everyone in their separate corners, pointing the other direction, saying how much what they know to be true is more true or what you know to be true is wrong. And I just fucking hate it. Like, literally, this podcast is for me, y'all, so I can fucking get to bed, because normally I go to bed way earlier than 12, but somehow I cannot chill out. Like, and I've been doing weird shit where, like, let's say I do go to bed early, I'll wake up at 1 a.m. wired, like, and not be able to go back to sleep. So it's just been a weird week ever since the election, and everyone's feeling so much. I just had to address it. And again, I didn't want to address it from like a right or wrong perspective or a let's educate on politics perspective. Like I want this podcast to support you right now in detaching from the physical aspect of what is right or wrong or could have or should have happened or politics at all or any of that shit. Because I feel like sometimes in order to have emotional health in your life, you gotta play games in your mind that support you in moving forward more effectively. And so for me, what I've kind of done is, of course I have, just a lot of emotion about what's going on. I have a lot of fear about what's going to happen moving forward. And the way that I've really spun it for myself is I just have decided it is what it is. Like a lot of pain and struggle is created through us resisting what is. My God, if we just would surrender to what actually is, do you know how much pain and suffering in the world would chill the fuck out? Like we would all just be able to actually keep it moving and like move forward. But oftentimes we're so busy being tormented over what shouldn't have happened that we're not even in the process of life. We're actually just in our own struggle and pain and suffering. So one, I've kind of decided, okay, Trump won. Cool. I didn't fucking expect that. And I'm not going to sit here and reminisce on what should have been or could have had the first female president or try to prove Hillary wasn't shady. Like, I'm just going to move forward. And in moving forward, I'm just going to respect the fact that that's what it is. And I'm not doing that because I believe Trump should have won or shouldn't. I'm doing that because it's fucking healthy for me in my life. I'm doing that because it helps me come to terms with where we are and just move the fuck forward. I'm not interested in spinning and being in the past. So yeah, I don't know if that supports you at all in moving forward. I hope it does, but it's sort of a very simple, practical, like, I'm not being very zen or profound here. I'm just saying, like, let's fucking keep it moving. Like, there's nothing we can do about it unless the electoral college peeps decide to overthrow. Like, we're going forward. So there it is. And with that being said, I also have completely and totally detached from conversations about what should have happened or what shouldn't have happened or trying to prove one or the other wrong, which is, I think what's fascinating me so much about what's happening right now is people have not. People are still having conversations like as if there's anything you could fucking change, dude. Like, at this point, we have the president of the United States of America, and like it or not, that's what it is. So I almost don't really understand why people are still talking about it, other than that maybe they're processing their emotions, maybe they're still mourning, maybe they are doing their best, or this is their way of being able to understand it. I guess that could be it. But I feel like all I'm seeing is fuck you, I'm right. No, I'm right. And so that is what makes me, I don't know, I guess feel bad for them, because I'm like, you're never going to move forward that way. That's not going to help you to move forward. You're basically stuck in the past and what should have been and trying to prove that it should have been a certain way. You're still not really coming to terms or surrendering or accepting what actually is. And until you accept it, what you resist persists. And so it will continue to persist, and you will continue to be in suffering, and you will continue to be in resistance until you finally freaking decide to get the fuck over it and move forward. And so I just feel for everyone who's still in the phase of resisting, because it's not pleasant. And I also understand that the struggle is real. Like, it took me, I think, a long time in my life to get to a point where I could finally surrender to just what is. And even so, there's still levels of that. Like, I think, I had a tough time surrendering to motherhood. I had a tough time surrendering to entrepreneurship. Like, I've had a tough time, like, so sometimes it's not that easy. And I definitely don't want to be judging. I guess I'm just seeing and feeling all this suffering around me. I want it to stop for those who are experiencing it, and selfishly for myself, because I'm like, man, this is fucking miserable. I don't even want to look at Facebook. Shit is overwhelming. So there's that. And then past acceptance, and then choosing to sort of not be in rhetoric that is, I'm right, you're wrong type rhetoric, and just moving forward. At this point, I think what I will probably do is just educate myself much more deeply on policies and what can be done and where we truly are. Because I also think there's a lot of fear, like a lot of minorities, a lot of religious cultures are just fucking afraid, and I'm even hearing of hate crimes that are happening. Like a Muslim woman was walking around and they like ripped off her scarf and told her like, something like, how do you like this America now? Or America's coming. And I'm like, are really, like, that's what's happening right now? And honestly, that's not Trump's fault. Like, granted, he had a lot of ridiculously inappropriate racial slurs while he was campaigning. No doubt that dude needs to freaking reel it in. But that's our fault. The people of America are doing this, which is, even that shocks me, because we're like fucking all immigrants, like all of us. Even the fucking white people are like Lithuanian or from Europe, or you know what I mean? Like, we're all from outside of this country. And I just, a big part of me doesn't understand why we would persecute another person with a different color of skin. But at the same time, again, I'm brought back to, well, most of the world lives in level 2 energy. So I guess what do I expect? But it's just so, honestly, it's so terrible and painful. Dear God. Oh my God. So this is my effort to address and acknowledge what's happening so as to process it myself and hopefully support you in processing it as well. This is my effort to bring light to some silver lining, some positive things that are awakening as a result of this situation. And hey, maybe I'll even bring some hope. So let's do this. Let's get to the silver lining. All right. So I do believe that the day is darkest before the dawn. And so while it kind of looks ugly right now, just with like the polarization and the little hate crimes I'm seeing happening, it just breaks my heart that it's even happening. But with all that being dark, I do believe that the day is actually darkest before the dawn. And so my hope and my prayer is that this is the dark part before we move forward and we see the light of dawn. That is my prayer. I don't know how. I don't know what that looks like. I just know that everything that happens is for our highest good. And so somehow fucking shit will come back around and things will get better. Whether that means we have, I don't know, whether that means Trump does a great job or we have, or he gets overthrown by the vote on December 19th, or who knows? I don't fucking know, because it's not my business or your business to be in the how. It's our business to set intentions. And so my intention and my hope is that this is darkness before the dawn, that there is light at the end of this very odd and chaotic tunnel. I also believe that another piece of silver lining is that people are really awakening to a lot through this. I mean, like I said in the beginning, I never gave a shit about politics really before this. And it's just totally done a number on me and really brought me conscious to a lot of the ways in which I cannot afford to be unconscious around the issue of politics. Like, I'm this little rebel girl, I don't like bureaucracy. I don't like the system. I like freedom. I like to just be on the outskirts and maybe empower entrepreneurs or empower creative types to create their movements and do their work in the world and empower leaders. And that's my way of contributing. It feels a lot more free to me. I don't like to, oh my God, like the thought of like going in and like voting or being involved in changing policy just sounds so bureaucratic and disgusting to me that I just literally go cross-eyed. So just from like my sheer nature of being this little rebel girl, politics is not the place I like to play. It's just too much red tape, too much bureaucracy. But this situation has really created an awakening within me, and I believe an awakening within a lot of people in our nation to really step up to the plate and care more, give more, be more, act more, not be silent, not be like, oh, it's really inappropriate to disagree with this person, so I don't want to give them this perspective, but rather be the rebel who really speaks up and is like, hey, well, here's some information that might help you, make an informed decision or whatever. So I feel like that's really big. I feel like we needed an awakening. And so, leave it to Trump and Hillary Clinton to be the ones to make it happen. I mean, to me, that is it's dirty the way it all went down, with how crazy everything is right now. But I feel like that is actually a beautiful silver lining, because I think we needed that as a nation, and we're finally getting it. Regardless of how ugly it's coming about, I do believe that that is something valuable that I don't know how else we could have gotten. And so again, that just brings us back to everything's for our highest good, even if it doesn't fucking look good in the moment, And then the third thing I think is that I just want to offer up an invitation and an opportunity to create unity with our brothers and sisters. And I mean all of them. Trump supporters, Hillary Clinton supporters. Like, I don't really care who you fucking supported. I feel like at this point, we all need to unify as a nation and as a people who just want what's good. And whatever that looks like, or however we're going to get there, let's get there. If Trump gets in office and he does such a fucking great job, I will quickly be fine with everything. And I will not be, like holding my Hillary flag and still be uncomfortable with the way things went down. I'm on board, If he gets in there and hate crimes continue and he never steps up and says anything about it, and he's fucking up all of our policies and our country starts to suck ass, okay, all right, then I will stay on my original bandwagon and do what I can as an activist. A political activist at this point. Who fucking knew that would ever happen? But I'll do what I can, So to me, it's kind of like you just have to use your discernment and your common sense, and everyone needs to calm down. Just calm down. And just remember that we love each other, that we're all in this together, that we all are one people, that regardless of our differences in perspective, that we still all deserve equality, respect, love, compassion. I mean, like at this point, the game is over, and I feel like Hillary supporters are upset and sort of, you know, portraying the sore loser type of perspective. And Trump supporters, instead of having compassion for them and saying, man, I'm sorry you lost, you know, I feel for you, they're sort of displaying bad sportsmanship and saying yeah, she was shady, like that, here's all the reasons why, and sort of like digging the knife in. And I just feel like if we were not so caught up in the level 2 of who's right and who's wrong, and we were more in the level 5, or hey, let's go back and go level 6 and 7, Zen baby, then we would probably extend compassion and empathy to our brothers and sisters who are in mourning so that they have their time to process and that we can all get on the same page. But instead, we're still playing in that level 2 arena. We're still fucking hating on each other. We're still acting crazy. And it's just perpetuating a very ugly and unnecessary and unhealthy cycle. And I'm literally mean unhealthy. Like, it's actually hurting everybody. It's hurting the winners and the losers. It's hurting the Trump supporters and the Hillary Clinton supporters. I don't fucking care who you are. This is catabolic energy. It is physiologically entering your body, and you are creating dis-ease inside of your body. Like, your body is not at ease right now if you're playing in this field. So there you have it, my friends. That's my rebel fucking drawing the line in the sand. Like, I'm done with this shit. Like, I really want us as a people to move forward towards positive progress, whatever the fuck that looks like. If that looks like you displaying empathy, great. If that looks like you becoming a political activist, great. If that looks like you just accepting what is and not being in resistance anymore, great. Do whatever tickles your motherfucking fancy, okay? Do you, boo? But please, 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 let's stop with the chaos and the attacks. It's too much, man. It's too much. Whew. All right, y'all. Hopefully I can go to bed now, because this shit has been racking my brain. Thank you for being the beautiful podcast listeners who allow me a space to relieve my thoughts so I can fucking sleep. All right, I love you guys. Holler at awakentherebel.com, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.